Hello there, everyone, and welcome into our ESPN FC studios. I'm Alexis Younes, back with the beacon of positivity that is our Ale Moreno. Let's get things kicked off, of course, with the Community Shield. There were headlines all over the UK after Arsenal had quite the convincing win over an Enzo Maresca-run Manchester City. Look at that, Rice and Threezy, because of course they won 3-0. You know I love me some puns, Ale.
No, I got it.
You got it?
It was cute.
Yeah. It was cute. I at least didn't come up with it. But either way, it is a happy day if you are a gunner indeed. Let's welcome in.
Tell Frank that we're ready to go.
Frank, we're ready to go.
All right,
all right, he's ready. He's ready. He doesn't like when we talk too much. He doesn't like when we talk too much about Arsenal. Remember, he's a Chelsea man. So let's welcome in our former Chelsea man and World Cup champion himself, Frank Leboeuf. And if one Frenchman wasn't enough, let's bring in another one in Julien Laurens, who has finally stopped crying after France lost to Spain in the World Cup. But Jules, don't worry, we're not going to be talking about that. We're not going to be talking about that. Let's talk about Arsenal. We know how close you are, of course, with the club. After what we saw from them against Manchester City in the Community Shield, just how impressed were you, and did it feel like a sort of message to the rest of their rivals ahead of the season?
Yeah, I think it was very positive. You're right, absolutely. They wanted to make a mark in a way. The preseason had been a bit on and off, really. Some of the games and the performances that they had through the summer were not always the most convincing, and it's only preseason. There's always a lot of changes. There's always a lot of rotation. So there's nothing really, or not too much to take on from those matches, but still, I think this was important for them. Not so much to lift that trophy, but much more to say that they basically are continuing where they left off at the end of the season, last season, when they were crowned Premier League champions after that such a long wait, and with a team that hasn't changed that much, with new signings, certainly two of them in the starting lineup against City, in Bruno Guimaraes and Solis, and that they just showed that whoever will want to beat them this season in the league, they will have to be very strong.
Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about some of the newcomers and how they did for Arsenal. But Ale, just off the bat, what you thought of Arsenal?
I know this is going to be cutting-edge analysis. I know it's breaking news. Arsenal are really good.
Yeah.
Arsenal are the best team in the Premier League.
Yeah.
Arsenal are more powerful than everybody else. And the best version of Arsenal is far better than everybody else. And I think what we saw from yesterday, and I know in yesterday's show they talked about some of the statements by Enzo Maresca and his interview and this and that and the other, and how Maresca just kind of went around in circles and kind of talking here and there. I wish a manager would just come out and say, you know, they're just better than us. Right now, they're better than us. It doesn't mean that it's going to be throughout the course of the season, but right now, they're better than us. And I think that's the reality for everybody else in the Premier League when they look at Arsenal. They're just better than everybody else. And while the performance wasn't spectacular, it was very efficient, it was effective, it was very mature, very professional. It was Arsenal saying, we're really good, the rest of you are going to have to catch up, and we don't see it happening.
Frank, do you agree? Just Arsenal giving us all a reminder that they still are the best team heading into this Premier League season?
As Ale Moreno will say, 100% for sure.
Hey, Frank, commit. You got to commit. 100%.
Eso.
100%.
Yeah,
sure. I'm warming up. That's why, you know.
Preseason.
But that's the reality of it. I mean, they've been spot on. I mean, it's why they scored after maybe 20 seconds. It's why they scored second half after maybe 1 minute. It's because they are already spot on and ready for the fight. And as Ali just said, and Jules also alluded, there is no competition right now. I don't see any team being able to compete with the Gunners. Hopefully, some clubs going to be able to do that and surprise us, because we won a race like we used to, and City showed us that it was impossible to follow the rhythm. As the other clubs will be able to do that, I don't know. But right now, the Gunners everywhere, in all positioning, they are at the top of the top and ready to double their title.
Yeah, we definitely are going to talk about Manchester City as well in a bit, because some could say they did make it pretty easy for Arsenal. But Jules, you did mention Bruno Guimaraes and Solis as well. They seem to be taking to life at Arsenal like a duck to water.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, for Solis, he's the Trossard replacement, and actually, when you see him play, there's a lot of similarities between their style of football. He's probably more of a passer and an assist man than Trossard was, for example. He was last season in Europe, and if you count the top 5 leagues, but also the lesser leagues, if you want, like the Belgian one or Portugal or the Netherlands. And he was the best in assists in the whole of Europe. So there's something there clearly, and we saw with the 2 assists that he gave in the game against City, what he can provide for this team. Bruno Guimaraes is different because he's more experienced, he's older, he's already primarily proven, which is not the case of Solis. He's a Brazilian international, plays in the World Cup, plays in the Champions League, all that kind of things. So for him, you would say it's probably very much it's easier to settle in a team like Arsenal and the way they play than it might be for Solis. And I even thought that Bruno Guimaraes looked a bit tired at time in that City game, which is normal. He's just arrived. He didn't really have a preseason before signing for Arsenal. He's pushing himself quite hard at training, I think, to catch up with the rest of the squad that started earlier. So I think there's much more to come from Bruno. But from what we saw yesterday, in terms of controlling that tempo, in terms of being press resistant, in terms of having that connection, especially with Odegaard on that kind of right-hand side, all those things that we saw on Sunday is very promising.
Yeah, I think from Bruno Guimaraes, we definitely expected this. He is Premier League proven already, Ale. But Solis coming in, the young Greek star, 2 assists. How can he grow into this Mikel Arteta team? What kind of role do you see for him?
Well, I think when you come into a team that is already built and has had success, the one thing that you want to do to kind of settle in and to make sure that your teammates buy into what you are as a player is have an impact in games that count. And this was really the first game that counted for something for Arsenal and Solis. And the fact that he comes in and has a couple of assists, he's active, he's getting on the ball, he's confident. As a player in that group, you begin to respect what this guy is all about. It is up to him to come and prove to his teammates, not us. We are really not that important. Not even Frank. Well, Frank is a little bit more important than everybody else. Yes.
Frank's the World Cup.
But to the fans and to the crowd and to the media, for players, that's not all that important as much as it is to your teammates. That they respect what you do, that they respect what you are as a player, that they see that you can make an impact. And it's more difficult to do that when you come into a team that has been successful. Mm-hmm. You have to be a player in order to be on the field for Arsenal. Well, Solis looked like a player yesterday. And that, I think, is a step forward for him and a step forward for Mikel Arteta, who then says, okay, we may have been thinking of Trossard is already gone. How can we cover that hole? We got it with this guy.
Yeah.
And he can do the job, at least from the little evidence that we have seen so far, that he can indeed do that job and do it very well.
Frank, as Alice said, it's your opinion, the only one that really matters, because you're the most important one on this panel. So what did you make of the two? Are you equally as impressed?
Yes, every time I open my mouth is to say something important, because otherwise I would rather shut up,
Wow.
But no, I think they are two wonderful. The two of them, they are the wonderful start, and especially Solis surprised me. Was very efficient, ready already, physically, tactically. It was like he knew the house, and that was very impressive. Bruno Guimaraes was not as fit maybe as Solis. But the two will bring something that Arteta needs. It's in case there is a problem, because I don't know who's going to start in the middle of the park with Rice, because Lewis Kelly was absolutely fantastic also, especially during the first half. In the first half. So there is something that you can expect from all the players. They will have to reach their top. And so far, so good for everybody, because everybody, as I said, was spot on yesterday. They did what they had to do. The new players, the newcomers, they were absolutely efficient. So everything is in a green light. Let's see how it works. And if it keeps on working that way, it's going to be hard to catch the guys.
It's going to be hard to catch Arsenal indeed if they continue how they do. But one thing's for sure, I don't think Manchester City can continue like what we saw in that game. Jules, any real concerns for Enzo Maresca's City?
I think it's a bit early really to judge, I think. I mean, when you consider a goal after 24 seconds, I think it changes the whole game plan. It changes your approach of the game, the way Arsenal defended then and left the ball to City. So I think it's a bit harsh if we go already and judge Maresca and the difficulties that they had at times in this game against Arsenal. I think what we saw, there were some interesting things in the structure of the team, especially with the ball in the build-up phase with Kusanov, Diaz and Gvardiol, the role of O'Reilly, the role of Kovacic, and maybe more interestingly for us, Aurelio Anderson, because they spent a lot of money on Anderson. And on Sunday, he was quite peripheric of what they were doing with the ball. He was on that right-hand side. Kovacic was the one where all the ball went through every time for everything. And you think, okay, you've got an Anderson where you spend all that money on. Surely you want it at the heart of everything you're going to do with the ball because that's what he's really good at. And yet that was not really his role on Sunday. So it's a work in progress, really. And I don't think we can really judge Maresca on that one game, again, because of the scenario of the game, because of what he's trying to put together. And also, let's not forget, his squad is not complete yet. And that's not his fault. That's not on him. That's on Hugo Viana, the sporting director, on people at the club for not having signed more players. Why is that Rodri saga still not sorted? Why is replacement not already here? You know, Boadi will probably come this week, but that's quite late. What about Enzo Fernandez? Do they only realize now that they wanted Enzo Fernandez? So I can feel a little bit for Maresca on where he's at right now, but certainly on Sunday, it was disappointing as a performance overall.
Ale, what did you make of City?
Well, and going and talking about Elliot Anderson, and think about what makes him a successful player, what made him a successful player during the World Cup. He's getting on the ball. Mm-hmm. He's active. He's connecting. He's getting the ball from the defenders, and he is a guy that then is a conduit of
word.
Well, thank you very much. Well, it's Jules used peripheric,
yeah,
so I felt the pressure.
And English isn't even his first language. Jeez.
And so he is a conduit. He is the one that connects. He is the one that gets the ball from here to there. But in order to do that, you have to get on the ball. You have to be on the ball. And so to Jules' point, for him to kind of he was almost closer to the sideline than he was to the middle of the field. Closer to Maresca than he was to the ball. And I'm thinking, but this is not what he does, or at least it's not what I think got our attention and what got the attention of Manchester City. And I think his engine right now, at this point in his career, has to be better than Kovacic's engine. And so he has to be the one that gets on the ball. But again, you're coming into a new team and you're kind of trying to fit in. And you have to be very careful about this when you're a player. You're trying to fit in, but make sure that you don't lose sight of what you are and what makes you a good player. And what makes him a good player is that level of activity and getting on the ball and connecting the next pass and getting in the line forward. And we just didn't see enough of that. In fact, we didn't see enough of that from Manchester City. I go back to the statements that Enzo Maresca made. And he made it sound as if like they were competitive. As if like there were just a couple of things here and there away from this game being close. And that was not the case at all. That's just flat out lie. This game was really not competitive. And yes, while I know that the early goal conditions the match, you gave up the early goal. It didn't just happen. You gave it up. You gave up a goal 30 seconds in. That's a problem. It's a referendum on you. It's a referendum on the players. It's a referendum on Manchester City. So we can't just dismiss the early goal and go, well, you know, there's things that happen and conditions the game. Well, no, that's on you as well. I didn't see anything from Manchester City that you say, you know what, I like that. But to Jules' point, it is early. So just the same as I'm not going to go crazy for Arsenal, I'm not going to go crazy against Manchester City here because it did have a feeling of preseason. You lifted a trophy, but it did have a feeling of preseason. We are guessing that Manchester City will be much better, and they'll need to.
Despite it being too early to make predictions, we asked our Frank Leboeuf to give us just that. Oh. This is how he feels the Premier League will finish come next year. He has Arsenal winning again, Chelsea coming in second, Manchester United coming in third again. Love you, Frank. Liverpool fourth, and Manchester City finishing in fifth. So, Frank, despite Jules and Alice saying it's a bit early, we can't really have two real concerns about Manchester City. It sounds like you do, because a little birdie told me you actually originally had City finishing second again, but after what you saw in the Community Shield, you dropped them to fifth.
Exactly. We are judging on one game, present time, and according to the guys, what they said, Manchester City are not ready. They are missing players. Some are not fit. I don't see Gueye on the bench. I see maybe Gueye instead of Guardiola. Guardiola maybe somewhere else. For sure, Anderson wasn't ready. I don't even talk about Alan, who was a ghost. So they're not ready. I played 2 Community Shield. I never thought that was a friendly game. That was a preseason game. That's not a preseason game. When you are 1 week away from the beginning of the Premier League, it's not a friendly game. It's a game you have to win because fans are coming to Cardiff to see you playing. And it's not a friendly game because you have to win, because you're going to be judged. And that's what we got to do, what we are seeing right now. is Arsenal are spot on. City, they're not ready. So they're gonna lose points at the beginning of the season, which makes me think that can be unbearable for the fans, can be impossible to catch up for the players and the Maresca. I cannot be positive. I thought that we could be second, and it's what I thought before the game. But after the game, I say, well, how long is going to take them to be finally ready? Maybe, as Jules say, new players going to come in the middle of the park where we know it's very important. So therefore, it's impossible for me to see City before the 5th. I don't know what's going to happen to Chelsea, Manchester United, your lovely club, or Liverpool, because they are in doubts too. But we are judging in the present time, and we saw a game where Arsenal are ready, and if it carries on like that, they're going to win the Premier League, and a team so far away from them. So it would have been, for me, kind of outrageous to say that they're going to finish second, because it's so far away from there. So it's why I say 5th.
All right. Jules, I know you have a lot of respect for Frank as your fellow Frenchman, and he gave you that 98 World Cup, but what do you make of his early Premier League predictions?
I think it's difficult because, like we've been saying, and Frankie just said it too, some of those teams are not ready. The squads are not complete yet. There will be new arrivals. There'll probably be some departures too. And it's really hard to judge and to gauge where everybody would be at in September, for example. So I think we always have a bit of fun with those predictions, but they're always very difficult to give early August, for example. So I can get his point completely about City. You can make a similar point about Liverpool, for example. You can also say that Chelsea and Spurs won't have any European competitions this season, which will be a massive help for Xabi Alonso and for Roberto De Zerbi, and that they have done good business, early business, and that their squads at Chelsea and Spurs compared to the squad at Liverpool or at City is more complete and more ready already for the start of the season this weekend. So all of this is completely understandable. I would still have City higher than 5th, but it's also a transition season that can well see them a bit struggling for sure.
I have a housekeeping question. General question, really, not just for Frank, but really for the producer of the show. Are we allowed to not have a pick for Player of the Year? Because Frank apparently was too good for it and say he doesn't care. We are always asked to do this, and there's a demand for us to come up with answers. So there's a preferential treatment for Frank as to he doesn't have to make a choice. Is this how it works?
He has won a World Cup, so I think that's
it.
Apart. Yeah.
Also,
I made a choice. And I was polite. I was polite when I said that, because I don't give a stuff like Craig Burley would say. I don't and you know me, I don't like the Ballon d'Or, I don't like the Player of the Year, and I put the top scorer, which is already a big time for me. But really, the Player of the Year, who cares? Stop asking me that. I don't want to answer to that. And if you have to break my contract because I don't give an answer to that question, I'm very sorry, but I will have to go. We're in a democracy.
Okay,
none of us have that power to break a contract.
Right, and if we're going to break the contract for any reason, it's for the fact that you actually just put yourself in the same category as Craig Burley. So if that's where you want to be, that's on you, Frank. That's on you.
That's on you, Frank. But Frank, let me ask you then about Chelsea, because of course, you have them finishing second now, 10th last season, so that's quite the jump. Jules pointed out some of the positives that they have done this summer, especially in the transfer window. So is that the main reason behind why you see your former club finishing as runner-up?
Well, of course, the heart is talking, that's for sure, and you have to expect a good thing. As Jules explained, they're not involved in European campaign, so that would be for them, maybe a relief and for some players a time to recover. And I want to see Chelsea better. They have the individuals for that. They have the squad. They have, I think, the coach for that, who can do miracles, and we saw that with Bayer Leverkusen working with young players. So I want to believe that it's possible. And it's impossible for me to put Manchester United before Chelsea. That's impossible. I cannot do that. Unless they play many games and they win 3-4 times, 3-0, I cannot say Manchester United is better than Chelsea. That's the blood talking.
It's okay, Frank. I'll forgive you for that one. But Ale, what do you make of Frank's top 5, rather?
Look, all I know is that there's Arsenal, there's a big gap, and then there's everybody else. And in that everybody else, all of this from Chelsea down to Manchester City, even to Spurs, they could all mix and match in terms of position. We're here projecting.
Yeah.
But honestly, we're guessing. We're guessing. We don't know. We don't know what Liverpool is going to be. We have no idea what Manchester United are going to be. Chelsea, who knows? We assume that they'll be better. I mean, it's not going to take much for them to be better, but we assume that they're going to be better. And Frank has Spurs at 6, and it's a big jump for them too.
Yeah.
It's a big assumption that that team is going to get that much better. But all I know for certainty, 100% certainty is there is Arsenal, gap, and then everybody else. And this everybody else is a mix-up of a bunch of teams that we have no idea what they're going to be.
Jules, do you think it's like that? Do you think it's just Arsenal and we'll see where the rest fall? Or do you at least see one that could probably be a strong contender?
No, I agree with Ali. I think it's Arsenal and then a gap and then the rest, really. And then we see who's the best of the rest and who can try to cause problem to this Arsenal team. On the day, anything is possible. We know that in football, whatever league, whatever club you follow, everything. There's a very early Arsenal away at Villa, for example. There's a very early Arsenal Chelsea at the Emirates as well. All those 2 games in the first 3 weeks of the season. So we will know quite quickly if Chelsea or Villa, for example, are able to compete with Arsenal certainly early on. But it's the consistency over the 38 games. And even without William Saliba, who is arguably Arsenal's most important player, let's say, who is out probably until December, even without him, so even without their best player, they're still clearly above everybody else. So it will take something quite strong for somebody else to be able to push them and compete for very long this season. But I think over the season, if they don't do anything silly, the consistency will be too strong for anybody else to follow. So yeah, I agree. I think they are too strong right now. But then through the season, with the Champions League, with everything else, let's see who else can push them and try to compete with them.
Dare I say, Arsenal are looking very much like Bayern Munich. Ooh. And dare I say, the Premier League is looking very much like Bundesliga. It's been decided before it even started. I'm just telling you.
I feel like you miss Bundesliga.
Oh, well,
it's coming back,
Ale. I'm just letting you know that's how strongly I feel about Arsenal, and then everybody else.
Ale also was the recipient of a signed Bayern Munich shirt today, so that's why he had to give Bayern a little shout out.
Wow.
We took about 2 hours trying to decipher the signature.
If you give me gifts, then potentially I like you better.
He got a Bayern Munich signed shirt plus a football.
Well, people love me. What can I tell you?
What can we say? What can we say? Let's talk some Spanish football, shall we? Because it looks like Rodri is heading to Barcelona. Yep, it looks like the Catalan Giants will be adding yet another World Cup winner to their ranks, with the Spanish captain on his way to the La Liga champions after leaving Manchester City for 76.5 million euros. First of all, let's look at this, Jules, from the Manchester City perspective. With all the issues or whatever we just talked about, even though we know it's early on, we know exactly how good a player Rodri can be, what kind of a role he has, especially what he had and won at Manchester City. So how big of a loss really is this now at this stage of his career for City?
I mean, I think he's a loss for what we saw he was capable of doing in the World Cup with Spain. But let's not forget that last season he didn't play that much. The season before, he obviously had a long, very serious injury, that he's 30 years old, that he has only 1 year left on his contract. So if you're Manchester City and you see that offer coming from Barcelona, which is an incredible offer, really, for a player of his age, with his injury record before, with the contract that he was still on, as I mentioned, just a year left on it, to be offered that kind of money, even for Rodri, even for a former Ballon d'Or winner, for a World Cup winner, for anything you want, you take it. For City, you take it. You get that money for Rodri, you get 60 million for Reinders coming from Saudi Arabia. This is almost like a miracle. Really, it's miraculous for them to get that money. And then you can go and sign Boadi and sign Enzo, and then you've already signed Elliot Anderson, and you've got the 3 new midfielders because you also lost Bernardo Silva, and this one for nothing. So from a City point of view, you have to take that offer. And also, you were not sure what Rodri would give you this season. He's already injured. He had that surgery on his back. He won't be back before October at the earliest, I think. And if you're City and if you're Enzo Maresca, you think, hang on, I could not have you for the whole of pre-season, for the start of the season. By the time you come back, I think it makes a lot of sense from a City point of view. For Rodri, I'm not too sure, but certainly from a Barcelona point of view, really, you're gonna put that money down on a player like him? On that, I'm really struggling to understand the logic.
Ale?
Well, I think the logic from Barcelona, and let me just clarify this and say it's not my logic.
Yeah.
I'm thinking what Barcelona are probably thinking. If you go back to last season and Pedri and the role that he had at Barcelona, he became sort of that deeper line midfielder. And it limited his presence in the attack. And we saw some of his struggles in the World Cup in that he was trying to take that deeper position as he had been doing with Barcelona, and Rodri was already there. And so what I'm thinking that Barcelona is probably thinking is Rodri can play the deeper line midfield, and then that allows Pedri the freedom to get forward and get in contact with Fermín López, with Dani Olmo, with Lamine Yamal, with Anthony Gordon, with Rafinha. And he can then be a presence in the attacking 18-yard box. He became very much a guy who was connecting from the back line and doing it at a very high level, because Pedri did play at a very high level last season for Barcelona in La Liga. But I think it limited his touches in the attacking half, in the final third. And I think he does have in him, in his game, to be able to provide that final pass, to be able to provide that final touch. He has that sort of vision. And so I think you waste some of that if he is 60 yards away from goal. So I'm guessing, this is only a guess, I'm guessing that this is what Barcelona are thinking. We have a deeper line midfielder in Rodri that frees Pedri to get forward, and that makes us a better team attacking. It's only a guess.
Only a guess. Frank, how do you see Rodri fitting in at Barcelona, especially helping out that defense that we know has been known to be a little bit vulnerable, but we talked so much about how much of an influence Rodri was with Cubarsí at the World Cup, and that probably could work in Barcelona's favor as well.
Well, you almost said it all. I mean, if you don't have a Rodri injured, of course, Rodri is important. Is even crucial. I was looking at the resume, and I say, what the hell, except the Ballon d'Or, because you all know that I don't care. But everything was perfect. The 4-time Premier League, the Champions League, the World Cup, the European Championship. The guy won it all, and that's amazing. And that guy was going to bring something special to the club. There is an aura around him, and that guy will bring, positivity, and of course will help maybe the younger player, the player who are looking for the same kind of fame. So if he's not injured, yes, it cost a lot to Barcelona, but that was going to be a plus. I want to believe that's going to be a plus, and I really hope that he's not going to be injured, because what a player. The guy is a masterpiece in his position.
Yeah, Rodri definitely is quite the special player on his day. We will see, though, if that happens. But, Jules, I want to talk about some other potential business that Barcelona could do, and that is particularly up front in their hunt for a striker. We know that they're still at quite the impasse, because they did want Julian Alvarez. Atletico de Madrid saying, not for now. So now I'm hearing that they're turning their attention to Victor Gyökeres. Tell us about that, the likelihood of it happening.
Yeah, I mean, that's another name that's been linked to them. Luis Suarez as well, the other one, the one from Sporting, who had a very good season, the Colombian last season, also linked with them, because they lost Ferran Torres, who went to PSG, and they got good money for him with only 1 year left on his contract as well. Obviously, Robert Lewandowski left. On the little graphic that we showed earlier on the possible starting 11 for the first game, we put Rafinha as a number 9. That could be Anthony Gordon too, but whoever that is between the two, they're not proper number 9. So I think they need to go and sign a proper striker. And that's where I struggle a little bit as well with Rodri, because if you want Rodri, okay, I can understand, although there's also Frenkie de Jong that we haven't mentioned in our little dialogue about Rodri. Why don't you spend some of that money on a number 9 first? Because surely you need that more than a 6. And then if you still have money left for a club that has been struggling financially for the last 5 years minimum, then yeah, go and sign Rodri. But right now, for me, it was not the priority. However, they decided to go for Rodri good. Now they need a number 9, and I'm not sure where they're going to find the money and what kind of budget they have for that. I don't think Gyökeres is the answer either, to be honest. I'm not sure Luis Suarez is. either, to be fair. So I'm not sure where you go now, because again, a bit like what we said for City earlier, we are already in the last 2 weeks of this transfer window. So the options are less than they were a month ago. Other clubs know that you're looking for a number 9, so they're more likely to increase their valuation of their players if you might want them, because they know that you have the urgency to signing a number 9 and you are panicking about your number 9. And that's not looking good for Barcelona.
Never underestimate the ability for Barcelona to find some financial gymnastics to get who they want.
Right, but to Jules's point, it's not just Frankie de Jong. They got Marc Bernal in that position as well. So if there was a position in which Barcelona has some depth, it's in that number 6, number 8, that sort of midfield pairing and the rotation that they have made and Hansi Flick has made in those positions. And yes, again, you would think that the priority would be sorting out your number 9 position, or at the very least that you don't allow Ferran Torres to walk out the door if you don't have the solution to your problem already. That's the part that I don't understand. You want to sell Ferran Torres, okay. But that's because you got the other things sorted out. If you don't have the next evolution sorted out, already figured out, then you can't let this guy walk out the door because you don't have any other option. I don't know how that works.
But Ale, this is your area of the pitch. If they do get Gyökeres he's not the answer.
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
What doesn't fit there? Huh? What doesn't fit? What don't you like?
No.
No.
Well, none of it fits. The style of Barcelona does not fit Victor Gyökeres. Imagine if he wasn't touching the ball at Arsenal when he would come on the field. At Barcelona, are you kidding me? He just doesn't. He doesn't fit. He doesn't seem to fit, and it's not a guy that you would think. If you think about how Barcelona plays in La Liga, and they have all the possession of the ball, and it's all intricate passing. The only times that they get running is when they get out in transition with Lamine Yamal, when he's playing that outside of the left foot ball to Rafinha. Those are the only times in which they get out running. But for the most part, teams are going to be sitting behind the ball, and there's no space for Victor Gyökeres to run into. And so are you telling me that this is the guy that you want to play a little give and go, a little 1-2, a little intricate, a little something here, a little tack, a little back heel action? Is this the guy that you want for that? I'm going to say no.
Frank, you find this one funny too, because you chuckled when I was mentioning the link between Gyökeres and Barcelona.
Yeah, because everybody will do the same, you know. But as Ali said, no, don't do that.
No,
doesn't fit. No. Because that's what it is. That's the reality of it. I think we know football, and we have respect to every player. But you have to talk about somebody who can fit or not into a team and a tactic and the way that team plays. Gyökeres doesn't fit at all. That's clear. That's obvious, and we know that. So no, it's not going to work. Don't even try. It's not going to be good for the player who's going to be lost and not going to touch any ball. And try to find somebody else. Or maybe try to find nobody because you don't have the money for it. So just play with the players you have. Yeah, you know, if you have Gordon or you have Fermin or whoever it can be at front, even Olmo can play as a striker, play like that. I think it's going to be enough, again, to win the La Liga.
Yeah, well, Jules, just final one on Gyökeres to Barcelona before we let you go, because Gyökeres is still also just starting out life, really, at Arsenal. Is he someone that they would be willing to let go?
I think it's hard to tell. We saw Kai Havertz starting ahead of him, obviously, in that Community Shield against City. I expect Kai Havertz to start the league on Friday night at the Emirates against Coventry. He's been very good in pre-season. When Gyökeres, obviously, has been more on the bench and coming on for Havertz. So it looks like maybe right now the pecking order for that number 9 position at Arsenal is Havertz first and then Gyökeres second. So maybe they are just open to everything. I think they need also that kind of competition between your number 9, these two different profiles. We expect Gabriel Jesus to leave the club. So Arsenal can't really go through the season with only Kai Havertz. So even if Gyökeres was to leave, whether he went to Barcelona or anywhere else, they would have to replace him. And that's hard to do when there's only 2 weeks left on the transfer window, as we explained before. And it's not easy to find a prolific number 9. So I don't expect him to move. However, he might feel like He's not going to play much Arsenal if Kai Havertz is there, fit and ahead of him in that pecking order. And might force a move. I don't think that's his style, although we saw that at Sporting when he signed for Arsenal. But again, I agree with Ali and Frank. He's not the right fit for Barcelona regardless.
All right, so nobody a fan of this one. To put it in Ali's words, no. We didn't even need the big words today. We could have just said no. All right, well, Jules, thank you so much for joining us. We'll catch up with you again soon for
that's
even
it for
more
Jules?
big words. That's it for Jules.
What's he going to fix the wallpaper behind him or what? What's
This
going
is
on?
better than his French chateau fake background. He did not like that one.
That's not French.
With the tulips that look sad.
No, that's not French. That must be English.
Yeah, that wallpaper is very English. It's giving grandma English. But either way, Jules, we love you. The king of the pitch last week stays as your king of the pitch.
Yes, it does. At least for me, it does, yes. Eremenko with that finish. You know how difficult it is, well, to tell you how difficult it is, as that ball is coming over your head, over your shoulder, you now have to be able to measure when this ball is going to be here, be able to anticipate where the ball is going to be here, hit the volley with power, and then precision to put it side netting from a tight angle and give no chance to the goalkeeper. It is extremely difficult to execute, and he did it perfectly, so he stays king of the pitch, at least for me.
Frank, you saw the goals?
Yeah, I saw the 2 goals, and I will go with Ali. I think it's a real composure to be able to make a volley and to be that precise, because you're not in the middle of the field, you're on the side. And of course, I cannot pick that second goal because I have a union for centre backs, and to be in humiliation like that, I don't want to share it to the world. I want to think about the guy who felt very bad about that beautiful control, and then that move that he made with his right foot to finish on the left with his left foot. I want to feel sympathy for the centre back. Therefore, I also go with the goal from last week.
All right, so Roman Eremenko.
Yeah?
He stays as our king of the pitch.
You agree or what?
I agree.
Okay.
I kind of like the second one, to be honest, but then I'm with Frank. Like, I don't want to embarrass centre backs.
Oh, well, that's done.
I'm all for like good defending and.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, but I trust you, Ale. I trust you. No. All right. Well, before we go and get into some extra time questions, our Ale Moreno has had quite the fun weekend, Ale.
Oh.
Tell us about it, and we're going to show you a little bit. But tell us about it. Something to do with Houston Dynamo.
Yeah, it's the 20th anniversary of our MLS Cup win with the Houston Dynamo, and so they had the whole team. Oh, yes.
There he is.
Oh, look at us. Look at us. And they had the whole team, and it's really the first time that this group has been together in 20 years. And for us to be able to share this moment and share this experience, and with our families as well, and our loved ones that were there, it's just great memories. It's great to be back in the locker room, in the quote-unquote locker room, and that's what it was, in all of us sharing our memories, sharing really the love and appreciation for each other. It was a great weekend. It was a great weekend of reminiscing, remembering, and feeling those moments that you don't have anymore. Once you retire, you no longer have those moments.
That camaraderie.
And I think Frank would agree that the thing that, as players, what we miss the most, while the competition was great and winning was great, the locker room, the relationships, that feeling that you have in common in working together for an objective, and then in this case to be able to achieve the objective, which then allows you to 20 years later come back together and be able to celebrate in the manner in which we did. It was a great weekend. Thank you to the Houston Dynamo organization. They were fantastic to us, and it was a tremendous weekend for all of us, and I think it's something that we will never forget.
I mean, I've spent a lot of time with Ale Moreno, and I don't think I have ever consistently seen him keep that smile on his face like I did in that video. Actually, I have once in Barcelona. Yeah. In Barcelona, where you're heading to. How does Barcelona Ale compare to Houston Ale?
This weekend, let's just say that it was a great time in Houston.
Yeah, a great time in
Texas. It was a great time
in Texas. Frank, you ever been to Texas?
No, I just enjoy seeing Ali smiling with his teammates and former teammates. I hate the word nostalgia because we never live again something. But to see your teammates back, to be on the field together, to feel also the dressing room a little bit, at the locker room, as you say in the States. It's always something special, and you always want those times to be very rare but very precious, and you always want to celebrate something that you did together was something exceptional. So congratulations, mate. I'm happy for you that you had that time this weekend.
Leave it for Frank to get all sentimental when we need to wrap the show. But that's it for this edition of ESPN FC. Don't go anywhere, though, because Extra Time is next, where we're going to get even more sentimental.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Welcome into Extra Time, everyone. Alexis Nunes here, back with Ale Moreno and a very sentimental Frank Leboeuf. We loved it. We're talking about camaraderie.
Okay.
Whew, I was struggling with that.
That took a little while.
I only have one coffee today.
Can I also just say, on that weekend with the Houston Dynamo and celebrating the 20th anniversary of the MLS Cup win, the uniform still fit.
Oh!
I put the uniform, and when it went on,
not to everybody.
I know.
Not to everybody.
I know. I put that thing on. I'm like, wait a minute.
Still got it.
Wait up. Hey.
You don't have to suck in as much.
Hey.
Look at that.
Hey. I mean, you know, it's tight in some areas, but it was. I mean, it was loose enough. You know.
Yeah.
And.
Well, you have to check the tummy. Like, check the little tummy.
Well, it's all right. It's okay, Frank. It could be worse.
It could be a lot worse.
Okay.
Yeah, look at it.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's perfect.
It's respectable.
Perfect.
You could have the full-on beer belly.
Yeah, well, it's respectable. I think it's respectable.
It's very respectable.
The other thing I would say is that you get to meet a lot of fans and people that come to you and they tell you, you spend a whole weekend telling you how great you are, right?
Yeah.
And people come to you and they're so kind and so gracious and so appreciative of us being there. But one of the things that was very common is that they would tell me, I was there when you scored that bicycle kick, or I was there when you did this, and you guys were so great, and your team was so awesome, right? And I was a kid, and you were one of my favorite players when I was a kid. And then this same person then said, can you take a picture with my son? And I'm like, wait a minute. If you were a kid,
and you have a kid,
and now you have a kid, that means that I'm old.
Just seasoned is what we call it.
Yeah, well, yes, very veteran.
Seasoned.
So let's just say that I took a lot of pictures with kids.
I still have some awkward, people coming. Well, awkward. They're nice people, but they say, can I have a picture with you because my mother loved you? And they say, okay, as long as your mother and it's not your grandmother, that's fine.
No, Frank, you're not up there.
But it was great because you can see that there's generations, right? And these are new Houston Dynamo fans, and they had no idea who I was, but their parents were excited, and they were like, go take a picture with him, and they're like, I guess, fine, I'll take a picture.
He'll remember. All right, let's get into some questions, shall we? The first one for our Frank Leboeuf. Frank, with Lens beating PSG in the Super Cup and coming within 6 points of them last season in the league, might PSG finally have a genuine title challenger that will force them to take the league seriously in the latter stages of the campaign, possibly to their UEFA Champions League detriment?
No. Again. Well, that's the thing about we were talking about Arsenal during the show and Bayern Munich for the Bundesliga. That's the same for PSG. Unless PSG doesn't want to play the game, is not really fit, is not really tuned in, maybe you have a chance to do something. But if PSG wants to win, they're going to win the game, they're going to win the Liga. They might be able also to win again the Champions League because they are the best team in the world. I'm so happy that Lens, because the club, I love the club. I played in Bollard, the stadium, it's amazing. It's an English stadium. The atmosphere is the greatest atmosphere that you can have in France. It's really special, and it's a small town. And you want them to be successful. And I really hope that they're going to be able to do that. But that will mean that PSG didn't do the work. That's as simple as that.
But to put it in Ale's words, in terms of them being title challengers over PSG, no. Next question. It is for Ale. Ale, rank these legendary midfield players in terms of their long-range passing ability. David Beckham, Xabi Alonso, Andrea Pirlo. Oh, come on, Pirlo.
Right, so I'm going to go Andrea Pirlo, David Beckham, and then Xabi Alonso.
There we go. I agree.
Now, let's not get crazy. They could all hit a ball.
Oh, yeah.
They could all ping a pass. They could all switch the point of attack. But I'm just going to say Pirlo, Beckham, and Xabi Alonso. And the reason I picked Pirlo is because I believe the range of his passing and the variety of his passing was slightly better than the other two.
Oh, gosh. Andrea Pirlo, I feel like he could pick out a ball and send it to me and I could score. Just a little tap in.
Well, let's not get crazy now.
Frank, do you agree with how Ale ranked them?
Yeah, I agree. It's hard to say who the best because those three were capable of launching very long passes and be so accurate. So I agree. Pirlo was a masterpiece, but the two others as well. But yeah, you give a little margin to Pirlo comparing to the others.
All right. No arguments there. Next question. This one for both of you guys. Who was the best strike or defensive partner, I guess for Frank, you ever had in your professional career? Ale?
Well, if we are saying with the national team that my strike partner was Juan Arango, because he plays sort of as a withdrawn kind of player, and he honestly went wherever he wanted to, and I was just running for him. But that's neither here nor there. I would say Juan Arango, but in terms of a striker partnership at club level, Guillermo Barros Queloto, el Mellizo, that was so successful with Boca Juniors, and we played together the Columbus Crew. Back in the day, back in the glory days, we could ball it up. And what made it so easy to play with him is that you just had to make yourself available. Make the run, he'll find you. He had that sort of vision, and I had that sort of understanding with him that he didn't even need to pick the head up. He knew where I was going to be. He delivered the pass, and then it was up to me whether I was going to tap it in or not.
Did you let him down? How many times?
Oh, hold on. Let me answer the question before. That's a two-part question.
How many times did you let him down, Ale? I'm just kidding. No.
Well, look. I'm sure there were plenty of times in which he said some choice words to me, but it was all in good banter.
It was all in good banter.
Yes,
we love good banter.
Yes,
we love good banter. Frank, what about you? Best defensive partner?
Best defensive partner, 100% Marcel Desailly. Because we had a chance to play together for 7 years with the national team, but also 3 years with Chelsea. And we were understanding each other very well. He was nicknamed The Rock. It says a lot. I played against him when he was in Milan. He was a midfielder and front of Baresi and Costa Curta. He was just a machine. The guy was a warrior, never let it go. In the World Cup in '98, him and Emmanuel Petit were the two best players of our squad. Everybody put Zidane on top of everybody because he scored the 2 goals and he had a very good ending of the World Cup. At the beginning, he was red carded, so he didn't play a lot. And of course, Zizou is Zizou. But what Marcel Desailly was capable of doing all games long, or Emmanuel Petit, that was amazing. So Marcel is obviously, even if I play with somebody exceptional called Steve Clarke, the Scottish national team, former national team coach, that I really enjoyed playing with him. Marcel Desailly will have to be on the top.
I love me some Marcel Desailly. Love me. Right, next question. Ale, which US men's national team player needs a strong upcoming season to stay in the picture for future call-ups for international duty? Cardoso, Musa, Ajimang, Brendan Aronson, Gio Reyna, Aidan Morris, etc. Quite a few there.
Well, I would say all of the above, to be honest with you. The mystery of Johnny Cardoso and his national team performances that doesn't quite match what he does at club level. That still remains something that needs to be sorted out by Pochettino and the United States men's national team. But Gio Reyna.
I was going to say, has to be Gio Reyna.
Gio Reyna. Right? And look, and Frank knows this very well. Gio Reyna is now going to play at Strasbourg. If you can't enjoy Strasbourg, by the beauty of the city of Strasbourg, if you're not inspired by your surroundings to go and play well, then I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah.
It feels like this is like the last chance for him to really do something significant with his career that goes beyond just kind of riding the bench and getting a few minutes here and there. This has to be a consistently productive season for Gio Reyna in Ligue 1 in Strasbourg.
Yeah, Frank, I'm pretty sure you'd agree Gio Reyna needs something. And I mean, the beauty of Strasbourg, surely.
Yeah, well, be careful, Mr. Reyna. The food is very good. The alcohol is very good in Strasbourg. So don't go too much in a restaurant. But otherwise, we call it, and I think it's not proper to Strasbourg. We call it the little Marseille because of the craziness of the fans. But they are as crazy as the Marseille fans. The stadium is a little bit smaller. Marc Keller, my former teammate, the chairman of Strasbourg, made it a little bit bigger, and I have to go to see that because it's a huge change. But Strasbourg is a crazy city of football, and if you give 100%, you can lift up your level, and the career can finally get started for Reyna, because we are talking about consistency. We don't want to see him being good every 10 games. That's the problem. We want him to be good every game, which will be very good for the US men's national team.
Yes, indeed. Final question now. What kind of gifts does Dan Thomas bring back while on duty in Spain? Dan even brings back gifts?
To whom?
To whom? Maybe to his family, but not us, not his work familia. No, stop. What? Nada. Zero.
I do wonder, because I'm going to Spain to cover the same games that Dan is covering. But I'm here tomorrow doing the show.
Nope, but Dan's not.
Whereas Dan apparently is leaving tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, does he need some time to sort of kind of get used to his surroundings while he's in Spain, or he needs to rest?
Maybe he's shopping for us, apparently.
Oh, is he?
Well, we will find out come next week. Because I don't know. Is Dan doing the show without you?
Huh?
Is he daring?
Well, I'm merely suggesting that I'm leaving on Wednesday, as we were instructed to do.
Because the games are Saturday and Sunday, right?
Correct.
And usually when games are Saturday and Sunday, we go out there Wednesday, if not Thursday, start coverage Friday, Saturday, etc. But Daniel Thomas.
Well, he's experience.
Experience.
Yes, he's a seasoned veteran.
Dan on work trips, especially to Spain, he knows how to do them gymnastics that Xhaka does when putting in vacation time. That is it. He knows how to maximize a work trip, let me tell you.
Yeah, well, he's maximizing it right now.
Frank, have you ever gotten any cute little trinkets from work trips from Dan?
I don't expect anything from that, Thomas. You know what it is? I know that when I go to the restaurant, I know that I have to put my credit card.
He's never even bought you dinner?
And put it on the table. Of course not.
Oh,
of course not.
come
It's like that.
on.
It's Dan Thomas. It's already hard for him to wear a trouser to go to the restaurant.
That's true.
Do you want him to pay on top of it? No.
Forget about it. Well, there you go, Joe.
Whatever.
I hope that answers your question. We've not received anything from Dan.
But you notice the disdain and the sincerity.
Yeah.
The honesty from Frank is the first thing that he said there was, you never expect anything from Dan Thomas. Truer words.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Have never been spoken.
I mean, Dan has a corp card. He can treat you, Frank. He can treat you to at least one company dinner.
Whoa. Don't give him another loophole.
I know. Maybe next time Frank's back. After they spent almost a whole World Cup together.
All right.
I would love that.
Don't look at me. Don't look at me.
Dan, come on. All right, well, you definitely won't see Dan on any ESPN FCs tomorrow or Wednesday, but as of Thursday, look out for him in Spain.
You'll see me tomorrow.
You'll see Ale tomorrow. He's back with Kay Murray, and then I will be with Xhaka on Wednesday, but still, ESPN FC every day of the week on the ESPN app.